George Dingledye interviewing Ray C. Butch Howard at his home, 358 East Maple Street, Friday, June 13th, 1975. Mr. Howard is 85 years old at the date of this interview. Butch, let me ask you, the first question is where you were born.
LaFontaine, Indiana.
And what was your father's full name?
William Thomas Howard.
And your mother's maiden name?
Margaret Tyner.
Margaret Tyner, yeah.
Yeah.
What did your dad do, Butch, out in...
He ran a general store in LaFontaine.
Yeah. Did your mother help him in the store?
No, not any.
Yeah. So did you live close to the store, above the store, behind?
Half a mile.
Half a mile.
Mm-hmm.
And how many were there in your family?
My father was, there were four of my father's children.
Mm-hmm.
Ray, Ralph, Robert, and Reva.
Mm-hmm. I'll be done. They all started with an R.
Yeah.
Yeah. And your father, of course, you speak about your father's family, your father and mother.
Well, my mother had been previously married, and her husband was John Miller.
Mm-hmm.
And was from two girls were born from that union,
Mm-hmm.
Jessie and Grace.
Now, did you grow up with Jessie and Grace?
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
You were, of course, the oldest, the Howards.
Yes, the Howard, yes.
Yeah, I'll be nice. Well, tell me about growing up in LaFontaine there as a kid, and where you went to school, and what you did, and so forth.
Well, went to school, LaFontaine School, graduated out of LaFontaine High School,
Year?
1909.
Mm-hmm. Did you go to a one-room school, Butch, or they had been all gone by that time?
It was what?
Had the one-room school been done away with by that
Yes, it was. There's several grades there. In the building, there were from the first grade to the
8th grade?
fourth year of high school.
Oh, all in the same building?
All in the same building.
I'll be nice.
Mm-hmm.
Were your two half-sisters, were they in school at the same time you were, or were they older?
No, they were about 6 years older, and they were out.
Yeah.
See, they must have been there sometime when I was.
Yeah.
I don't think that they graduated from the high school. I don't remember.
Yeah. Do you remember anything unusual in high school? Did you play baseball or play on?
We played baseball, about all we played in high school. We tried to start football,
Mm-hmm.
and in the practice, Earl Sutton broke his leg,
Uh-huh.
and that stopped football.
Yeah. The parents didn't think much of it then.
No.
Yeah.
They didn't care.
Yeah.
We played lots of baseball in the pound. We had about 3 good sandlot teams there.
Uh-huh.
The old Fountain Reds, they were about the best in the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm. Which team did you play on?
I played on about the middle team, I guess, and I ended up with the end of the old Fountain Reds.
Yeah.
Uncle John Tyner was one of the players. Well,
Do you remember some of the players that you played with?
oh yes.
Who were they?
Well, John Tyner, Huey Crumley, and Abe Crumley, Harry Bannister, and Ora Pearson, Buddy Sutton, Ova Renblocker,
Most of those
Kai
guys,
Wagner.
are they still living, most of them? Or
No, I'm the only one. I'm the only one still living in that original
gang?
gang. Yeah.
I'll be nice.
Uh-huh.
What was it like as a kid to go downtown in LaFontaine? What kind of stores were there and so forth?
There were about the average small town stores, a couple drug stores, which were open at night,
Mm-hmm.
of course, and the hardware, tin shop, newspaper office
Bank?
and restaurants and bank. One time there were 2 banks at LaFontaine.
Any saloons?
Yes, they had saloons there. Bill Bike Saloon was the main one.
Yeah.
And John Lindsay had a saloon,
Mm-hmm.
and we had a hotel.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. As a kid, did you get uptown much? Where was your dad's meat market? Or store, I should say.
Well, we didn't get nights very much.
Mm-hmm.
The boys didn't. They had curfew
Mm-hmm.
there. I don't remember just what the time was.
Mm-hmm.
And we lived in the edge of LaFontaine in a 80-acre farm. My dad had a slaughterhouse there, ice house. We didn't live very high, but we had plenty to eat all the time.
Yeah. Adequate, then.
Mm-hmm.
Let's check this tape. Yeah, I think you sound all right. I think we're coming over okay. What'd you do then after you got out of high school? You talked about, let's go back to your dad's farm. He had...
No, my dad bought the farm thinking one of his 3 boys would take to the farm, but none of us did.
Uh-huh.
I took to the store, and my brother Ralph, he took to factory, handle factory,
Uh-huh.
and he ended up with the True Temper people
Mm-hmm.
in Geneva, Ohio. He was a superintendent of the factory, and my brother Bob, he got in the cleaning and pressing business.
Yeah. But that story comes later, I think, when you two were in partnership. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you went from LaFontaine, and then after high school, what happened?
Well, I came to Wabash
Yeah.
in 1912 and worked in the Renner Brothers shoe store
Uh-huh.
and roomed at Sam Renner's house.
Uh-huh.
He was the father of Mabel Launder.
Mm-hmm.
And then I worked at the manufacturer's shoe store, having gotten a little raise. And then from there, I went to Marion and managed the shoe department in the Marion Dry Goods Company for Heavy Smith's shoe store. In the meantime, my father was going to give my brother Bob and myself the store at LaFontaine. They were going to let us have it. So I gave the shoe company at Marion 2 weeks' notice. And in the meantime, my father changed his mind. So I went to I went to Chicago and applied at Marshall Field's shoe department for a job, and I got it for 2 months during their July and August sale, and after that they didn't need me any longer. So I came back to Wabash and took charge of the Union Cigar Store on the corner.
Mm-hmm.
And was given a contract for the purchase of it, and I ran it for about 5 years, and then I had to go to the Army.
Mm-hmm.
In incidentally, on the 13th of, the 15th of June I went, and I was in Squad 13.
Mm-hmm.
And there was 13 boats in our convoy going across the ocean, Atlantic Ocean, and they landed in Glasgow, Scotland, Friday the 13th.
I'll be darned. Were you drafted in World War I?
Yes.
Yeah. And tell me about from the time you were drafted, where'd you go and what happened?
Well, the thing is, first, before while I was waiting to be drafted, I attempted to get into the Marine Corps.
Mm-hmm.
4 of us, I think, Wabash fellows, among which was Honky Snyder, Carl Snyder, we call him Honky, and Clyde Ray Snyder, and Art Lockery, and I just can't quite remember the other fellow. We went down there in Annapolis, and they all got in but me. Uh-huh. And then shortly after that is when I went. And I went to Indianapolis, and I was in a machine gun school down there for 2 months. And we were quartered at the old Metropole Hotel. There was 4 floors in that building, and there was a company in each floor. Uh-huh. And I was on the top floor. Mm-hmm. We found cockroaches and lots of things down there. Then from there on, after 2 months service, I went to Camp Hancock, Georgia, and to get a regular assignment, I suppose. And then from there to Camp Merritt, New Jersey, and aboard the ship at Hoboken, and then landed in Glasgow, Scotland, Friday the 13th. Mm-hmm. Shortly after, when I got off the boat, I ran into Ernest Shear. He was on another boat in the same convoy, and Ernie was broke. I was almost broke, but I got in a poker game the last night on the boat and won $25, and I loaned Ernie 10, which he paid me back when we both got back to Wabash.
Huh. I'll be there. Yeah. And then what happened after you got to Scotland?
Well, we went across the. We went to Down, England. I think it was near Winchester, and then over across the English Channel to Le Havre, mm-hmm. to a town called Mayhew, which was a clearinghouse for ordnance. Mm-hmm. They made requisitions for so many men at different places, and we had to. Well, it was 30 of us started to a place called Montour, which was under the command, incidentally, of the man we call Sleep Hess here from Wabash. Mm-hmm. And somehow, when we went to go catch the train, it was late. And so the sergeant in charge says, now, you'll all be here when that time comes for this train. And we were, all but him. Mm-hmm. And we missed that train, and we were 5 days and 5 nights going 150 miles. Mm-hmm. And the last train was on, there wasn't enough room for us in one car, all of us, so the 4 of us went to another car. And the next morning I woke up, we 4 woke up on the sidetrack at Nantes, lost. Uh-huh. So we went to the ATS office, and they sent us up to St. Nazaire. Went for Colonel up there, and he says, I got just a job for you, boys. And he sent we 4 back to Nantes, or rather Usine-Brûlé, which is a suburb of Nantes, which we were stationed the rest of the time at an ammunition dump. Mm-hmm. And our big job was superintending labor, which we had 2 or 3 stevedore companies and some French labor and even some Chinese labor. I guess that's about all I did. There's a lot of little things connected there that I wouldn't need to mention because it might imply some. We had this barracks we had was, well, there was ordnance men there, and there was ATS men and firemen. And I don't know how much, several different organizations, officers. And by the way, there's a fellow from Fowler, Indiana, who was in the post office and is now retired from the Fowler, Indiana post office. That was a near neighbor to Ed Benjamin.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And his name is Ralph McNeil, and I hear from him occasionally.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Just curiosity, how did the Chinese ever wind up in France? What was the...
They were about the poorest labor. Yeah. You just couldn't get any work out of them.
How did they get to France? I mean,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how. We didn't have many of them.
Yeah. Did this ammunition dump that you worked in, did it ever get shelled, or was it that?
Not while I was there. I don't think it ever did.
Yeah.
Every time I'd see an airplane up there, I'd be afraid. We had we had big high stacks of ammunition, besides warehouses full,
Yeah.
And we had switch, engines come there, switch cars.
Mm-hmm.
And occasionally there'd be a woman engineer or something on there, or a brakeman or stuff like that. Uh-huh.
Did you stay in this job until the war was over then?
Oh, yes. See, that was over in November.
Uh-huh.
I stayed till March the 31st.
Yeah.
When I set sail back.
Yeah. Was the armistice a big thing that night over there?
Oh, was it? Well, to me, that night, I didn't get to see the celebration, but the next night I did, and they were still at it.
Yeah.
I was on bugle guard, and I couldn't get away.
Yeah. Did you bugle in the Army also?
Oh, extra.
Extra.
Yeah, I wasn't a regular bugler. I did that. I held my hand up where I shouldn't. I thought I was getting a soft job.
That was just extra duty, huh?
Yeah, but I had to blow myself to work and blow myself to sleep and everything else.
Yeah. Well, you stayed there till March. Anything happened from the time of the armistice ended until the following March?
Well, nothing particular happened. We just had to work. I can't remember what we did. We still handled ammunition.
Mm-hmm.
And an officer framed a convoy of 50 ton of defective ammunition
Mm-hmm.
to be thrown overboard 50 miles at sea.
Mm-hmm.
And he put that in charge of me and a fellow named Lloyd Saunders at Mitchell, Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't have to even bother about the Navy. We was on a freighter, and those Navy boys threw that stuff all over. They had the big time doing that.
Yeah. Did this ammunition dump have an official designation or a number or anything that you would get your mail by? Or?
Well, I just can't remember.
Mm-hmm.
But the barracks was called Harvard, after General Harvard.
Yeah.
Harvard Barracks.
Uh-huh.
And it was right the suburb of St. Nazaire, on the lower river.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What did you do then when you got the orders to sail back home?
Well, that was it.
March 31st.
The report to the commanding general of the port of debarkation.
Mm-hmm. And how long had you been overseas then?
About 8 months.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Okay, now you got back to the United States and landed in New York?
Well, Hoboken.
Yeah.
It was in New York, yeah.
And then what happened?
Went through Camp Merritt, and then they was transferred to Camp Sherman. But wouldn't that be Chillicothe, Ohio? I think that was Camp Sherman, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And there where we were discharged.
Mm-hmm. And what happened?
Come home.
Yes. And what did you do? Did you go back to LaFontaine, or did you come right back to Wabash and establish?
I come to Wabash, and my brother and I, Bob, bought a tailoring shop
Mm-hmm.
from Jack Mills and Charles Smith.
Mm-hmm.
And
Now, was this the Jack Mills that had been in the Spanish-American War?
yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh. And this, what was the tailor shop? It was a custom tailor where you would send the...
Yeah, made to measure.
Yeah.
And then we did pressing.
Mhm.
Of course, we got into the haberdasher business right away.
Mhm.
Added that to it.
And where was this located?
Oh, it was South Wabash Street on the alley,
Mhm.
where that beauty parlor is now.
Mhm. That would be between...
Across the street, across the alley from that fabric shop.
Yeah.
You know.
That would be between Canal Street and Market Street on
That's
the
right.
east side,
Yeah.
right at the alley, on the
Yeah.
north corner of the alley.
Yeah.
Okay, and how was business? Did you make a good investment?
No.
What happened?
Well, the thing is, the merchandise is just like it is now. Raising, price raising. Silk shirts, that was a fad then, $16, $18. And the prices all went under. And we had to sell them $3, $4 to get rid of them, you know. And everything else accordingly. I struggled for 4 or 5 years, trying to, but I finally had to give it up. Along the same time Harry Truman did.
Yeah. Where did you get the capital to get in this business? Did you buy it on contract from Jack Mills?
No. Well, I don't know where Bob got his 500, but I had 5. That's all we paid $1,000 for. We should have started from scratch. We could have just well not. We didn't have to buy somebody's business.
Yeah. So you lasted about 5 years in the business community and decide that this isn't for you, and what happened? You had a pressing shop in the back also. You pressed clothes, and
Yeah.
you didn't do any cleaning though.
No, we had farmed out.
Yeah.
I think my brother and I had the first steam clothes press in Wabash.
Mm-hmm. In the
Tough
back.
one.
Yeah. In the back room then.
That was upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
About where Russell Gilbert's barber shop is, someplace up in there.
Yeah.
Right over that corner of the alley there.
Well, how did you get out of this business then? Did you,
Well, my brother and I just separated, and then I hit the rock.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
1925.
Yeah.
The year my son was born.
Now, did you, I'm going to ask you a personal question. Did you have to file bankruptcy, Blake?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
Well, Walter Bent, the lawyer, forced me.
How?
Well, I don't know how he did. He threatened to anyhow.
Yeah.
And so I just did that to be him to it.
Yeah.
I saw I couldn't make it.
Did you have to, what was the procedure in those days? Did you have to go to Fort Wayne? Or
No, went to Plymouth, I guess.
Yeah.
No, that wasn't South Bend, I believe.
South Bend. That's the same as it is today.
Yeah.
Did you have to get a lawyer to represent you?
Yeah, well, yeah. Frank Plummer.
Represented you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I laughed the other day because you and I have talked about this before, and you remarked that you went bankrupt 3 years before the country did. But you just beat him to the punch.
Huh?
You just beat him to the punch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, how did you pick up the threads then? You were married by this time?
I put samples, suit samples on them on, started out selling clothes. Direct to the customer.
Did you work out of an office or anything?
Yeah, I had an office in different places. Fremont Hotel, I had an office for quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
And I went with Simpson Taylor in 1929.
Out of Chicago? Mm-hmm.
And in that same year, I went to Danville, Illinois for them and helped open up a shop down there. I don't know what to call it. It had samples all around.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't like that because I thought I could sell more clothes in Wabash than I did there.
Mm-hmm.
I told the boss that. For as long as you have it back in Wabash. So, that's the way it is.
Yeah. Did you make a living at this work then?
Yeah, kinda, yeah. And then I finally bought this race night as Harold, they call it, Harold's Haberdasher, where the singer sewing machine shop is now.
That would be right across the street from where the
Where it was
original
before,
business.
yeah. And I ran that 18 years. Well, I didn't go bankrupt there. I sold out. I closed it out.
Was that a successful operation then?
I consider it very much. Actually, I think as successful as any small businessman would be in this. You know, don't you?
Yeah, that's true. Well, you made a lot of friends in those days.
I hope so.
Yeah, you knew a lot of people, so I'm sure there wasn't hard for you out covering the streets.
No.
Is there a good market in North Carolina?
No, that was a very small market. And you had to sell a lot of them to make money.
Get out and generate some sales yourself.
Previous going with Simpson, I had the Richmond line for 3.5 years. And,
that was basically the same type of... No, different?
It was, people thought that. Most people thought they were tailor-made, but they weren't. They were ready-made. And usually the measurements didn't mean very much. So I got sick of that.
That was in Cleveland, Ohio, was your home.
Cleveland, yeah.
Okay, so you finally close out the business, and then what do you decide to do after you close the business?
Well, I was secretary of all the mechanic bodies in Wabash, and I thought I'd retire at that. And they got me tied in the justice of peace business, and so I did both of those for a while, and then I quit the secretary business because I didn't want to work nights too much, so I just did justice of peace.
Did they talk you in, did anyone, the party talk you into running, or?
Well, no, not exactly. Harry Palmer is the one that did talk me into it, to being asked to be appointed. I was appointed the first time for 9 months, and then I was elected every time after that.
Did you find that interesting work?
Yes, it was interesting, all right, but there's many distasteful things about it that I don't like. It still is. So I don't have to worry much about that because I think we're all through the first year.
Was that, was it a good financial arrangement?
So far as that, it was just a supplement to your income for Social Security, you know, and Medicare and Social Security. It added a little bit, made it a little easier.
Let's go back to the, let's go back to meeting your wife. How did you meet your wife, and what was her maiden name? Just ask the maiden name first.
Maiden name first?
Yeah, go ahead to the name.
Name is Irma Lucille Lichty.
How do you spell that last name?
L-I-U-C-H-T-Y.
Lichty, yes.
Yeah.
And how did you meet her?
I met her in church. There we call Bunny Martin. He looked like John Bunny. His name was there. I was sitting up in front of the Lutheran one Sunday. He said, "Come to church with me." I don't want to. But he talked me into it. And they had a crowd there. They were going around the harvest at night, Sunday nights, and
social guy.
No, that's true. Tell me about the band. Did you play in the band down there
Yeah.
at LaFontaine when you were a kid?
Yeah, and I played when I came to Wabash. We had a band here, too.
Well, let's talk about the LaFontaine band. Who was the leader? And
Well, we had an instructor named Ralph Bailey from Marion.
Mhm.
Stole about everything he could steal off of it.
Mhm.
And we had a pretty good band. And I played the cornet.
Where did you had you had music lessons?
Now, this fellow gave us.
He gave you the
He was
music.
an instructor, just like Jinx was here with the high school band.
Yeah, I'll be darned.
Uh-huh.
Okay, then when you came to Wabash, you played in the Wabash band, and
Yeah.
tell me about some.
We had different instructors then. I know Whip Slimmer.
Mhm.
You know Whip?
Mhm.
He was in it,
Mhm.
and I remember and Charlie Bishop, that died down in Florida,
Mhm.
from Urbana originally. He was in it. I remember. And Luke Miller.
Mhm.
He was in the shoe business,
Mhm.
cobbler business.
Mhm. Was Phil Magner in the band in those days?
No,
I've seen his picture in one of the town bands.
not now. This is before his time around.
Yeah. Who was the leader of the band in those days, Butch?
Well, you mean instructor?
Yeah. Here in the Wabash band.
A fellow named Jack Salmon, I think, from Peru. I think he was the instructor there.
Yeah.
We used to play for rallies and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Had a lot of
Never made any money. Had fun.
had uniforms.
Yeah, we had uniforms, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you always active in the church?
Oh, I don't know what you call active. I went, paid dues.
Yeah, but I mean, you always were participated and considered yourself a member of the church.
Yeah, that's right. I've always had. I've belonged to this church out here for 50 years now.
And we're talking about the Wabash Christian Church.
Oh no, I never. I was baptized in the Christian church at the Fountain.
Mm-hmm.
Then when I come over here and got married, I went to my wife's church. See that?
And that was
St. Matthew's.
St. Matthew's. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to show you something in this book.
351. That's wrong because it's 358.
358. They made a mistake in the book.
The odds on the west side of the street, see?
Do you remember any of these other old neighbors?
Claude Smith and Ed McDarney.
Oh, he lived in this block, huh?
Well, he lived up, hey, that's 390.
Yeah.
That would be down here.
Uh-huh. And then it says
Yeah, that's right, he was there.
391 was Anna McNerney.
That's across the street.
Uh-huh.
And that's Maple West.
Uh-huh. Well, you weren't getting too far away from where your first roomed here in town was on Maple Street. Didn't
East
you?
Maple? Well, that's where I roomed.
Yeah. Sam Renner.
Yeah,
8.
Sam Renner, right.
8
8
East Maple.
8 East Maple.
Yeah.
That's it. Oh,
Tell me about Sam. I understand that he was a character.
yeah.
I shouldn't say character, that he was a very unusual individual. Carl Schwab worked there also.
Yeah, that was after I went.
Yeah.
Well, Sam was what you'd call a dynamic sort of a chap. You know, he's a salesman.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was. Or Uriah, that's his brother. He was a salesman.
Uh-huh.
He traveled also with the Marion Shoe Company as a traveling salesman. And Sam, he was the main business guy down here.
Did Mabel, did she work in the store when you were there?
No,
No, she was.
she never did. I don't think. She got married young.
How old would she have been when you were living there?
She was 16 when I came.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Do you remember do you remember Ray coming to court her? Or?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
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 An unusual thing that she told me, and you perhaps remember this, that her mother lived with them all the rest of her mother's life.
Yeah,
Did Sam die relatively young then?
I would say so, yeah.
Yeah.
He got shot or something. I wouldn't want to say that. But up at Yellow Creek Lake, I think it was. He had a cottage up there. I don't know why I left there. But after I left after I left the store, I lived at their house for years and years after that.
Did you? You just
Yeah.
continued to live there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
On West Hill Street,
Uh-huh.
314, I think.
Yeah. Well, she must have been quite a woman.
His wife?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was. What was Shamble? No, what was? Oh, I can't remember names anymore. I forget what her name was.
Yeah.
Emma. I can't remember what her last name was.
Butch, do you feel any different now that you're 85 than you did when you were 25?
You want me to lie to you?
No, tell me the truth.
Nobody does. No, feel the same. You deteriorate some, don't you?
Yeah. I'm asking you. You're the 85.
Well, I think I feel just as good as I did. Only sometimes when I do things, I can't do them so good. You know.
Yeah.
I can still mow the lawn, and I can rake leaves.
Generally, you've been pretty healthy.
I think so. Yes. Good. Well, I haven't abused myself very much, I guess.
Never a big drinker or smoker?
Well, I've used to smoke quite a bit, and I have had a few drinks in my life. Room temperature.
And you've had the cataract operation, that's about it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last year, 2 of them, both eyes.
Bob is younger than you are.
5 years. He's just now 80.
Yeah.
He was in October. And my sister, the youngest, will be 80 next October.
Next October, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll all be octarians.
Yeah.
I guess that's what they call them.
Yeah.
What the heck's this here?
I think those are country listings, aren't they?
Must be, because that's LaFontaine. Ernest Haggard is LaFontaine. Renner Brothers, yeah, LaFontaine hardware store.
Yeah.
Tom and Rollin. Albert Harper, he was a banker.
At LaFontaine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bert, we always call him.
How did, how about Prohibition here? And that would have been after you guys were fairly young and Prohibition came along, and how'd you manage?
We had home brew, I guess.
Made it yourself?
I never made any. Bob did, my brother.
Mm-hmm. Do you ever hear the expression blind pig?
What?
Blind pig, did you ever hear that expression?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they used to have them.
There were a few here in Wabash?
I guess so. I just don't ever remember patronizing them, but I think they were.
The years you were in the pool room, was the pool room sort of like run like they are today?
Oh, I can't tell you, because I don't know how they run them today.
Yeah. Was there gambling in the pool rooms in those days?
No, they weren't supposed to be.
Yeah, well, there isn't supposed to be today either, but there is.
I don't think that they did when I ran it.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't allow minors in there, and I didn't allow swearing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I ran it pretty good that way.
Mm-hmm.
I remember we used to have booster days from Wabash.
What were they?
Oh, it'd be something. They'd have parade, and something like canal days, I'd think.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that cigar counter in that Union Cigar Store. I had a electric cash register. Weren't very many of those yet.
Mm-hmm.
I rang it 1,000 times one day.
Selling.
Cigars and stuff.
Yeah.
Tobacco, pop, and all that stuff.
1,000 times. That's a lot of rings.
Yes, sir, I did. Of course, I think I worked 16 or 18 hours.
Yeah.
Couldn't get help.
Yeah. Did you feel like that you got sort of cheated out of that cigar store?
I know. I don't feel like it. I know I did.
How did that come about?
Oh, somebody liked it better. Yeah, looked after it some while I was in the army.
Mm-hmm.
Saw how good it was.
And when you came out, you had lost out then?
Yeah, they had kind of. I don't know how they framed it up. I could have saved it if I'd have known it.
Mm-hmm.
But I signed a release for it. See, and you knew who it was. Yeah, and he had so much system he couldn't wait on the trade, and he failed. Right?
As you look back at 85 now, and you look back at something that happened 50 years ago, does it bother you still or not?
No, I guess not.
I mean, you figured, what the heck, I made it for 50 years, and I've got a house and a place to stay. And
there isn't anything to regret, I don't think. I actually think, Ding, that I've had a pretty full life. At that, I've had ups and downs, a lot of them, and not many ups, but a lot of downs.
Yeah.
And I think I've profited by lots of them. It slows you down quite a bit. Makes you a little bit more cautious, I guess.
If you get stung once, you get a little more cautious?
Yeah, a little bit. I always go back for more.
Yeah. Do you think you would have done anything differently?
Oh, I don't know. I don't suppose I would. I think I would try to get more education if I wasn't too much interested in education. I was glad to get out of that high school, and that was it.
Of course, that was a big step in those days, to get out of high school.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a big step. And did any of the kids in that age group and class, did they go on to college?
I can't think of any of them.
Yeah.
In our class.
You ever thought you should have stayed in the Army, maybe?
No, I never. That seemed like a lifetime. I was in there only 11 months and 4 days.
That seemed like a long time then, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But actually, as far as the cigar store was concerned, 2 or 3 weeks after I was out of there, I didn't care whether I ever went back in it,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
First place, I had broken down arches, and I was flabby, and I built myself up. It really did me a lot of good, that army. Took off 25 pounds in 2 or 3 weeks. And from I suppose 38 waist, maybe same as I am now about. Not now, I'm about 36. I went down to 32, but it was solid. Like Jack Brickhouse said about Jose Cardinal. He said he's small, but he's wound tight.
That's true. Yeah. Do you enjoy your life now, Butch, at 85?
Yeah,
Do you?
I think so.
What do you do?
Huh?
What do you do for living? Just live?
Yeah, that's all. I don't do anything special.
Do you remember the first automobile you saw?
I saw. I can't. I don't exactly. I know a friend of mine had a Hutmobile,
Mm-hmm.
and I can't. The first automobile in the fountain. I just can't remember what time it was.
Was that a big event?
Yeah, for these fellows that somebody's supposed to be well-to-do had it. Joe Davis. And I can't remember what the name of that was. There was a lot of different makes of automobiles those days, a lot more than they are now.
How about first time you heard a radio or saw a radio, or was that a big thing?
Oh, everything like that would be big.
Mhm.
First TV that I ever saw was the New York World's Fair.
Mhm.
That is, I saw them broadcast, and then I went to another place and I saw them receive it. It was in a tube or something.
Did you ever think they'd come to Wabash?
No.
But radio was not a big event.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. Did you have a wireless or anything in your house, or
No, I say.
did the family always have a telephone?
Well, you mean?
Your dad and mother, did they always have a telephone?
Oh, I just don't remember when that came about.
How about Lindbergh flying the Atlantic? Was that big?
Yeah, that was something, of course. Spirit of St. Louis?
Uh-huh. That was a big
Sound like
time.
my son to come.
Yeah, I think it. Hi, Jack.
Hi.
How about the start of World War II, Pearl Harbor? Was that did that have much of an effect on you?
Well, in a way, I was I was down to Elks Memorial,
Mhm.
and I just came downstairs from that memorial service and heard that news. It was quite a shock, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, how about when the war ended? Was that a big occasion?
Well, they did a lot of celebrating around.
Did they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, you missed World War I, celebrating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy, they had a big time down there at Nantes. I imagine the same night, the 11th,
Mhm.
they must have had an awful big time. Of course, when I went down the next night, they were still going after.
Yeah. You pointed that out. Is there anything else you can think of that we've missed? I think we've covered everything from the CWA to the Depression. Did you think of anything?
I can't.
Probably after you go to bed tonight, you'll think of a half a dozen stories that we
Oh,
should
I-
have talked about. Thanks, Butch. This has been interesting. George Dingledye for the library.